The final trial was the most challenging, the trial of heart. In the center of the village, Naserian was presented with a young calf and a spear. The elders explained that she must take the calf's life to demonstrate her willingness to make hard decisions for the community's survival. A hush fell over the crowd as Naserian stood there, the spear in her hand, her eyes fixed on the calf. The moments stretched on, and tension gripped the air. Will she do it? Could she make such a sacrifice? Naserian's hand tightened around the spear, and I held my breath. But then, she let the weapon fall to the ground with a dull thud. A true leader does not take life needlessly, she declared, her voice steady. A true leader protects it. A wave of whispers and gasps spread through the crowd. Mbeshan's face twisted in fury, and I could sense the conflict brewing within him. Yet, it was the Libon who stepped forward, raising his hands for silence. The trials are complete, he proclaimed. She has passed, not by the strength of the sword, but by the strength of her heart. Despite her triumph in the trials, peace did not come easily to the village. Mbeshan, humiliated and enraged, retreated to his followers, plotting in the shadows. She is not our leader, he spat. She has bewitched the elders and tricked the spirits. We cannot allow a herder's daughter to take what belongs to the warriors. I watched from the sidelines, my heart heavy with apprehension. Mbeshan's words spread like poison through the village. Those who had always clung to the old ways rallied behind him, while others, inspired by Naserian's strength, stood by her side. Our community was fracturing, and I feared that bloodshed would follow. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the savannah, Mbeshan approached Naserian. I followed quietly, my instincts warning me of the danger that lay ahead. He found her by the cattle kraal, where she was tending to a wounded calf. You think you are fit to lead us, he snarled, his eyes gleaming with malice. You have fooled them all with your tricks, but I see you for what you are, a mere girl playing at being queen. Naserian straightened, turning to face him. I seek not power for myself, she replied calmly. I seek to serve the people and the land. Mbeshan laughed, a harsh, mocking sound. Then you will fail, he hissed, for you lack the strength to do what must be done. With those words, he turned and disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind a foreboding silence. I felt a chill run down my spine, knowing that the conflict was far from over. The following days were fraught with tension. Whispers of rebellion spread through the village, and Mbeshan's followers grew bolder. They spoke of tradition, of the old ways that must be upheld, and accused Naserian of bringing ruin upon us. One night, as the village slept, Mbeshan made his move. He and his followers stormed the cattle kraal, seeking to seize control and assert their claim to leadership. I awoke to the sounds of shouts and clashing spears, the air thick with the scent of fear and dust. Naserian emerged from her hut, unarmed but unflinching. She strode toward the commotion, her head held high. Stop, she called, her voice ringing out across the chaos like a clap of thunder. The fighting paused, warriors turning to look at her, their faces marked by anger and confusion. This is not our way, she continued, her gaze sweeping over them. We are Massai, and we do not resolve our conflicts through violence and bloodshed. Mbeshan sneered, stepping forward with his spear raised. Then face me, he challenged. If you are truly our leader, fight me and prove it. Naserian stood her ground, her eyes locking onto his. I will not fight you, she replied, her voice calm yet unyielding. But I will stand before you. With that, she walked forward, arms outstretched, exposing herself to his weapon. A collective gasp went up from the crowd, and my heart skipped a beat. Was she willing to risk her life to make a point? Mbeshan's face contorted with rage, but as he raised his spear, something in him faltered. His hand trembled, and he hesitated. His eyes locked on Naserian's unflinching form. Slowly, almost reluctantly, he lowered the weapon, his expression shifting from fury to something else, a begrudging respect. You are a fool, he muttered, dropping the spear at her feet. But you are the kind of fool this village needs. A sigh of relief swept through the onlookers, and I felt a knot of tension release from my chest. Naserian had not defeated Mbeshan through strength, but through the courage of her spirit. In the days that followed, Naserian took up the mantle of leadership. She began her rule not with grand declarations or shows of power, but with acts of compassion and strength. She invited Mbeshan and his followers to work alongside her for the betterment of the village. She sought out the elders, listened to their concerns, and made decisions that reflected the needs of the people rather than her desires. The Libon held a ceremony to officially recognize Naserian as the leader of the Massai. The villagers gathered in their finest shukas and beadwork, their faces a mixture of awe and pride. The Libon placed the ceremonial necklace around Naserian's neck, his voice echoing across the plains as he declared, "May you lead with the wisdom of Ankai and the strength of the land." As the sun set, casting its golden light over the village, I felt a deep sense of peace. Naserian had proven that leadership was not about birthright or power but about the courage to love and protect one's people. But the challenges were far from over. Mbeshan, though humbled, continued to harbor resentment. I saw it in the way he watched Naserian, his eyes hard and calculating. He could not accept that she had succeeded where he had failed, and so he sought to undermine her rule in subtle ways, whispering doubts into the ears of those who were still uncertain. Naserian, however, remained undeterred. She knew that love was not easily won, nor was it easily maintained. She walked among the people, spoke to them, listened to their struggles. She walked alongside them in the fields, showing that she was not above them, but one of them. Among those who stood by her side was Kolechi, a warrior who had once been aligned with Mbeshan. He had watched Naserian's actions, seen the strength in her compassion, and his heart had changed. They worked closely together, building a bond of mutual respect and understanding. I saw the way they spoke in quiet tones, the way their eyes met with unspoken words. It was a different kind of love, one built not on passion but on shared purpose. As the years passed, Naserian's rule became a beacon of unity for the Maasai. She abolished the harsh practices that divided our people, opening the crawl to all and creating a system where everyone had a voice. The village thrived under her guidance. The cattle grew in number, and the land became more bountiful than ever before. Chief Olomuniak, who had once doubted her, came to respect and support her leadership. Even Mbeshan, though he never completely let go of his ambition, grew to understand the strength in Naserian's way of ruling. He became her advisor, using his cunning not for division, but for the protection of the community. The tale of Naserian spread to neighboring lands, becoming a story of courage, love, and the strength to overcome. It was recited around fires on cold nights, a reminder that greatness does not come from birth or status, but from the courage to do what is right. And as I stood on the plains, watching the sun rise over our beloved land, I knew that we had become a stronger people because we had found our heart in the leader who walked among us, not above us. And so, the legend of Naserian, the herder's daughter who became the queen of the Maasai, lived on, a testament to the enduring power of love, unity, and the unbreakable spirit of the savannah.